Welcome to the Fabulous 413. I'm Khalees Smith.
And I'm Monty Belmonte. Later in the show, we'll hear from reggae superstar and former member of the Tom Tom Club, Mystic Bowie, who's bringing his Talking Heads tribute, Talking Dreads, to Gateway City Arts in Holyoke next week.
And we'll also hear from you about your favorite places for holiday lights on the streets of the 413.
And we'll give you our list of some of our favorite holiday movies and specials. If you want to share your favorites with us, email thefab413@nepm.org.
But first...
Season's greetings.
Hey, season's greetings back.
Nobody says that enough.
I know.
It's only written on cards, I guess.
Merry Christmas, season greetings, and that was you.
Time for our weekly check-in with U.S. Congressman from the 2nd Congressional District of Massachusetts, Congressman Jim McGovern. Congressman, we were together earlier this week at Deerfield Academy, where the Greenfield Recorder and the Franklin County Chamber of Commerce were honoring the Citizen of the Year. And the Citizen of the Year this year was Good Ben Clark, fruit farmer from Clarkdale Fruit Farm. 45 years old, which in my opinion, too young to be Citizen of the Year. How are you going to make him feel old? What is he going to achieve after that? For, amongst other things, being a board member of CISA, being a part of the Board of Trustees of Deerfield Academy, being a volunteer firefighter, and for rescuing a woman from those horrific floods back in July when a woman on Lower Road's car was being washed away and Ben Clark swooped in to rescue Lee Oldenburg. You were there. You were honoring him. Tell us your thoughts about that event and about the work of Ben Clark.
Well, I mean, Ben Clark is not only a great man, but more importantly, he's a very, very good man. You know, he's somebody that is always there at every good cause. He is first in line. You mentioned all the stuff that he's been involved with and all of his accomplishments and his heroism as well. But he's just genuinely a good guy. And I joke that, you know, I go to lots of events where people are named Person of the Year, Person of the Month, or, you know, the Lifetime Achievement Award. And sometimes I sit there and say, okay, well, it sounds like this person's being nominated because they ran out of people to honor. But not the case with Ben Clark. I mean, I think everybody in that dining hall at Deerfield Academy, every single person, I believe, agrees that there is nobody better to honor. There's many blessings that come with serving in elected office, but I think the biggest blessing is that you meet people that are really extraordinary. And Ben is one of those people. You know, we'll be friends for life, but I have the highest respect for him and his entire family, by the way. This whole family is wonderful. So
yeah, generational legacy farmers working there in Deerfield. One of the things that Ben Clark mentioned at the event is his work with you on stopping natural gas, fracked gas, actually, pipeline that would have cut through large parts of Franklin County, including his farm. Yeah, can you talk a little bit about that effort?
I remember, you know, walking with him through his farm, as he showed me where the pipeline would go, and you know all the fruit trees that would be destroyed, and basically worried that their farm wouldn't be able to produce what it needs to produce to be successful. And that to me was, you know, it was outrageous what this company was trying to do. And we had rallies at Clarkdale Farm. We had meetings there. You know, I think a lot of the reason why Kinder Morgan packed up and walked away was because of the activism that came out of Clarkdale Farm and all the meetings and all the strategy sessions that happened there. But, you know, I remember walking through as he was showing me how the farm would be destroyed. And I was like, why in the world is it in anybody's interest? Why would anyone want to do anything that would disrupt and destroy this incredible, successful farm and basically kind of ruin this historical legacy of this remarkable family that has been there for generations? And so in the event, he deserves a lot of the credit for kind of getting people organized and certainly keeping politicians accountable. You know, there's an old saying, sometimes good guys finish first. Well, he did in this case, and I'm glad for that.
One thing that did happen at the event is that you brought the wrong commendation.
I did, yeah.
What did you?
I brought my speech from the night before. I had to leave early. I mean, because you know, I had to be there at 7:30, and I live in Worcester, so it took me, you know, so I took the wrong green folder, and so the speech that I delivered at Temple Emmanuel, I could have handed him, but I've since corrected it.
Ben Clark is one of the farmers who this past growing season was affected by the dramatic weather. frosts, not so much the floods on his farm, but there was more flooding even this week. I know Grow Food Northampton and some of the community gardens there experienced another major hit. Lots of farms underwater again this week in December, the end of December. What are you hearing from farms in your district, and how much more help is the federal government going to be able to offer when these events are happening not once a 100 years, not once a year even, but multiple times in the course of 1 year?
Well, it's one of the reasons why we need to pass the Farm Bill. We need to constantly readjust, some of these programs to take into account these natural disasters. And so, I'm trying to get a accounting as to how much of this flooding in December is permanent damage, and we're in the process of doing that right now. But the federal government, the state government, has to step up if there is damage that needs to be addressed. And as you know, what we did previously, because the federal government, the state government wasn't doing enough, is we helped raise money privately to help our farms stay afloat. And that was a successful effort. And it was also encouraging to me because it made me realize that there are people all over this state who appreciate our farms and who understand how vital they are, not only in terms of providing food supply, but they're vital to our economy. They're vital to protecting our environment. And we need to protect them. And we need to have the backs of our farmers when these natural disasters occur. And my hope is we can move beyond these weather events that are so destructive. But every time they happen, we have to come together as a community and make sure that our governments, as well as what we can do privately, are pushed forward so that we can help sustain them.
Yeah, according to Phil Corman and CISA, with all the private philanthropy and the public support, it's only covered half of the losses of this year. So is the Farm Bill a place where something could happen to help bolster these especially small farmers, given that it's unlikely that these events are going to go away anytime soon?
Yeah, it could. And, we need to work with USDA to say, look, this is the new reality. So what are you doing to adjust to this new reality? The challenge with the Farm Bill, as you know, is we have a divided Congress. We have a leadership in the House that, quite frankly, doesn't appreciate the importance of a Farm Bill. And there's a concern that if we were to pass a Farm Bill rather than just an extension, which is not perfect, but at least it's not gutting the Farm Bill. But if we were to pass a Farm Bill under Republican leadership in the House, that it would look very, very differently. And a lot of the farmers that we all appreciate in Massachusetts and New England would not be recognized in what might come out of this Congress. So we're trying to figure out what we can get done. But, elections do matter. And when we have people that approach farming as survival of the fittest, and the bigger the farm, the better the farm, you get one product. And when you get a different leadership that understands that every farm, no matter the size, is important, not only in terms of our food supply, but in terms of our environment, you get a different result. So I don't know what's going to happen this year, but I'm not going to support a Farm Bill that turns its back on our small and medium-sized farms.
Speaking with U.S. Congressman Jim McGovern, McGoverning with McGovern. Speaking of elections, as this year winds down and we head into 2024, we're going to all start thinking about the presidential elections once again. Primaries are just around the corner, but an interesting development in Colorado, where that state is using the 14th Amendment, Section 3, to prohibit anyone who has sworn an oath to the Constitution and then engaged in an insurrection from holding office again. It's the first time this provision has been used to prohibit someone from running for the presidency. I'm sure this is going to go to the Supreme Court to have a final say, but there are even some conservative legal scholars that say this legal argument is unassailable. J. Michael Ludwig is being quoted in Politico today saying that this is the exact reason this amendment was put in the Constitution after the Civil War. Massachusetts has, certain legal scholars have been saying they may try a similar attempt. Is this going to be good for the psychology of the people that already think that Donald Trump, there's a witch hunt against him? And is this truly a way forward, not for the Democratic Party, but for the country that will hold us together rather than separate us?
I mean, in a perfect world, I would like to just see him defeated outright in an old-fashioned election. But I understand the arguments, and I'm not a legal scholar, so I'm not the best person to be able to argue the merits of all this. But Donald Trump has been a disaster for our democracy. He has tried time and time again to blow it up, to destroy it. And I really believe that if he were to prevail again, that he would move us closer toward fascism and sort of a one-person rule than we've ever seen in this country. I literally lose sleep at night when I think about the potential that he could be back in the White House. And it is also scary to me that so many people I know, people I've worked with in various capacities over the years, locally and also in Washington, continue to be wind at his back. I think we always talk about every time we get to a presidential election, this is the most important election of our lifetime. We say that over and over and over again. But this time really, 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 really is. This is really about our system of government, our form of government. And it really could come to an end. And I'm amazed how many people seem oblivious to it or don't care or still support him nonetheless. Those of us who care about democracy, we're going to have to double down and work harder than ever. And this is one of these years where, I don't agree with Joe Biden on everything. And, because, don't you wish you had a younger president? Yeah, I wish I was younger too, right? But this is a year where what is on the ballot literally is whether our democracy will continue or whether it ends. And I want it to continue, as imperfect as it is. I want it to continue, and it can't continue if this guy were to end up in the White House. Again, I'm not a legal expert, and I've heard pros and cons about, what this decision means. There are ways around it. He will go to the Supreme Court. I have no trust that the Supreme Court will ever do what's in the interest of the American people, quite frankly. So, we'll have to see what happens. But I think we should not comfort ourselves by saying, this means that he can't seize power. I think this election is far from over. And his forces are not going to give up. And I worry about violence. And I worry about rhetoric that continues to do great and maybe permanent damage to our country as we move forward.
Speaking with U.S. Congressman Jim McGovern, this is the time of year everybody likes to look back and remember. I know that it's been a particularly insane year in the House of Representatives. There was just recently the expulsion of a member of Congress, which is an historic event. You had a speaker change from within the party, the Republican Party, midstream here, which is an historic event. Is there anything that you in particular or your party, the Democrats in the House of Representatives, did accomplish this year that you feel particularly proud of?
Well, what I'm proud of is that we successfully did some important damage control in terms of preventing measures moving forward that I think would have undermined our democracy. This has not been a Congress of very many accomplishments. In fact, only 27 laws have been enacted so far. And you compare that to previous Congresses, basically we've accomplished nothing. And of those 27 laws enacted, a lot of them are post office namings and stuff like that. So this has not been a Congress that has accomplished very much for the American people at a time when there's great need out there. And we do our walk for hunger. We do it because there are hungry people in our community. Congress has done zero in this last year to help address the issue of hunger. So I can't do a positive spin at the end of the year on, we did, but this wasn't as good as we wanted to, but we did this. There's really not a lot of good things that were done. This Congress will be remembered for damage control. That's a success measure, in my opinion, of what we were able to prevent. And that's really not a very satisfactory way to end the year. We have problems in this country. Hunger is still a problem. It's getting worse. We got to be doing something about it, and not just the march that you lead every year, which is helpful to the people in our community, but this is a problem all over the country. And we need to function, and we need to be more productive, and I hope we get to that point sooner rather than later.
Totally bumming me out.
And, well, I was trying to put a good spin on it.
Yeah, you did. You did a good job. You're trying to shine a sneaker here, I guess. But speaking with U.S. Congressman Jim McGovern, it has, we mentioned, a tumultuous year in the House of Representatives. It looks like we're looking forward to a tumultuous 2024. But let's pause for a moment and think about the good things. What are some of your personal McGovern family holiday traditions that you're looking forward to over the next couple weeks?
We gather as a family. I think this year we're going to be at my sister's house, and we're going to, we'll have a nice Christmas dinner. And,
what do you eat?
Everything. So we have a little bit of, we'll have a turkey, We're having a Tuscan pork shoulder that I make.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah, with fennel and pepper. It's actually pretty good. And then, we'll have 1,000 other things. The night before we go to my aunt's house, and she's Italian, and so we have this great kind of Italian spread that she puts out. Fish and pastas and all kinds of meats, and it's all wonderful.
Wait a minute. Are you half Italian?
No.
Okay.
My mother's brother married a woman who was Italian.
Okay,
so
good move on his part.
Yeah, I know. My side is Irish and Polish, with a little bit of Lithuanian.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but it's nice to be together with family and friends, and because with all the craziness happening in the world, I think sometimes we forget to take stock of the fact that there's some good things in our lives, and our families are front and center. And I'm very lucky. I have a great family, and I actually, some people don't look forward to the holidays. I actually do, and so it'll be fun. And I get a couple more days of doing some work, and then I'm off for a little bit.
Well, that's great. Enjoy your time off. Thank you so much for being on this show for the course of the last year, answering questions from me, from our listeners, for the March for the Food Bank, and all of the above. Happy holidays to you, Congressman Jim McGovern. Looking forward to talking to you again in the new year.
Well, I wish you all the best as well, and thank you for keeping us informed and raising relevant issues and challenging us to be better. And my hope is that in the next year, we will all be better at whatever we choose to do. So anyway, appreciate being on the show, and I wish you all the best, and we'll talk soon.
Talk soon. Merry Christmas.
You too. Merry Christmas.
McGovern wants us to be better.
Yes, indeed.
Coming up, where to find the best holiday lights in the 413 and some of our favorite holiday movies, specials, and traditions.
But up next, the band who Khalees's band is opening up for at Gateway City Arts in Holyoke next week, reggae superstar Mystic Bowie.
Shameless plug. You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM.
You may find yourself living in a shotgun shack. You may find yourself in another part of the world.
Thursday, December 28th, Gateway City Arts in Holyoke. An incredible show, Mystic Bowie, performing with none other than the greatest party band based in Western Massachusetts, the Soul Magnets, starring our very own Khalees Smith. And joining us from the show is not only Khalees Smith, who joins us on every show here, but Mystic Bowie himself, and two of the folks who are going to be performing with Mystic Bowie that are no strangers to the Valley music scene, Jay Metcalf and Dan Thomas. Mystic Bowie's Talking Dreads is a musical revolution of Talking Heads music. Also, Mystic Bowie, a former member of the Tom Tom Club, which also was grown out of the Talking Heads. Mystic Bowie, thanks for joining us from your home in Connecticut.
Thanks very much for having me. I appreciate you guys.
Your musical career is enormous, but can you give us the big points for people who aren't as familiar with you?
Sure. Actually, I don't think it's enormous because most people don't know me or know about me.
You've played with so many legends over the years,
that's
though.
What
They
I mean.
should know about you.
You've played with so many folks, not just Tom Tom Club and like the Talking Dress thing, but like bringing this project together, you got to play with legends. Like you've played with legends in your solo career. So like, yeah,
We're talking reggae legends like Freddie McGregor and Ernest Ranglin, who you're still very close with and communicate with often.
Ernest.
Yeah.
You should see the photos on his phone.
It'd make me very jealous.
Yeah.
I'm a very fortunate young man. I started out really early. I was discovered when I was 9 years old, and I did my first song then for Jack Ruby record label when I was 9. When I was 14 is when I started doing the first set of shows for Island Records, Chris Blackwell. Basically, they would have me sing in the hotels, after school, cabarets and stuff like that after school. Through that, I started getting more exposure. They have me enter in competition, like the Jamaica Cultural Development Commission have their competition. I won 2 years in a row as a teenage singer, and that kind of widened the road for me a little bit, where more artists start to recognize the name and my talent. Just before my 15th birthday, I went to Nassau, Bahamas, to perform for the Jankono Festival, and the place where I was staying, across the street on the beach was the Campus Point Hotel. And on the opposite side of the road is a Compost Point recording studio, which was owned by Chris Blackwell. And at night, when my caretaker would go to sleep and thought that I was asleep, I would sneak out to the window and go hang out by the studio. But the cool thing about it, nobody in the studio would chase me away. They all welcomed me. When they're doing certain things, they would tell me to get out of the room. Obviously, you're talking about musicians. Like at the time that was there, we're talking about Keith Emerson, Grace Jones, Sly and Robbie, Dean Fraser, Freddie McGregor. You name it, everybody was there. That's where they all hang out. So I was there with all these folks, and some were doing stuff that they didn't want a teenager to see or to expose. So from there, it kind of widened the horizon again for me. Then I moved to Florida. At the time, Island Records had an office in Queens, New York, and they wanted most to move to New York. I tried it, but honestly, I hate living in a city. I literally got sick because I wasn't accustomed to the horns and sirens and all the noise that goes with a city, knowing me, who's from literally the deep jungles in the mountains of Jamaica. I couldn't handle it. So at the time, I was dating a young lady from Connecticut, and she suggested, well, instead of moving back to Jamaica, which she didn't want me to, she said, why don't you move to Connecticut? That's what I did. And when I moved there is when I realized I was not the only musician that actually was hiding out in Connecticut as a home, because they have easy access to New York. Right next to me, literally, like 2 houses from me, was Keith Richards. Nile Rodgers was just literally behind me. Tom Cruise had a house 4 houses from me, across the street from Paul Newman. And it was like just keep getting crazier and crazier because
it's a good party.
I didn't realize all these people were there. You all think we're in New York City, but we're not.
You might be in Connecticut, like Mystic Bowie, who will come up from Connecticut on Thursday, December 28th, to Gateway City Arts in Holyoke, where he's going to be playing with the Soul Magnets, opening up, featuring Khalees Smith, and also playing with 2 other local heroes who are in the studio with us, Jay Metcalf and Dan Thomas. Let's let you, Dan, talk about your relationship musically with Mystic Bowie here, how you ended up playing with them, and then I think bringing Jay into the fold as well, right?
Yeah, so this is sort of a serendipitous kind of meeting here because, I've been playing in the Valley for a little over 20 years now. And some years ago, Jay actually encouraged me to start playing reggae, and not only start playing reggae, but start playing it correctly. And Jay was really instrumental in kind of coaching me on the things to look for in my playing that, I hadn't found in other styles of music. So then fast forward, and these days, I'm really kind of fell in love with this style of music to where, I'm listening to Ernest Ranglin at work all day and playing his music in my trio shows. And then I found myself playing with some friends, and we actually formed a Talking Heads cover band called Slippery People. So I've got this Talking Heads tribute band, local, that you can catch sometimes. Will probably be, we like to frequent the Marigold in East Hampton. It's our favorite place. And on the other side, I'm playing a lot of dub and reggae and ska. So then Jay and Mystic had got in touch with me this summer and said, hey, we have this band. We play Talking Heads music in Jamaican styles, reggae, ska, rocksteady, you name it. Are you interested? And I don't know what a more perfect...
It's like the Reese's Pieces commercial.
It really is, And then Mystic sends his records to check out, like, here, learn these parts. That's Ernest Ranglin on the guitar. That's Sly and Robbie on the bass. And, I've been chasing these guys' music for years, and here I am learning the parts of these masters to play these songs with Mystic. This is a match made in heaven right here. I'm like, how are these things all kind of coming together? It's very serendipitous.
Jay, how did you get involved with Mystic?
I met Mystic. It was that Blue Ocean Music Hall last May, 2 Mays ago. I was opening in the opening band, and I remember seeing the band like 15 years earlier at Wormtown and being like, what's this band all about? And I've been carrying my way through the Connecticut reggae scene, it seems. And this bass player that came on board with Don Minot out of Hartford, Robin, I was down at his house one day, stayed a little extra long. And in that time, Mystic called, said he was looking for a keyboard player. And Robin said, come on over. I got somebody right here.
It was meant to be.
And Dan Thomas and Jay Metcalf will be playing with Mystic Bowie, who we keep referencing as Mystic. He's from Connecticut, but not Mystic. But will be in Holyoke on Thursday, December 28th. Khalees Smith and her band Soul Magnets will be opening up. Maybe you'll be part of Mystic Bowie's band sooner than later there, Khalees.
I have
Exactly, you never know.
Okay. What made you bring the styles of music that you'd grown up with to Talking Heads? How did you get into Talking Heads?
Living in Jamaica as a child, Talking Head music was one of the few real alternative rock music that was playing on the radio in Jamaica. Behind the scene, they were managed by Chris Blackwell, the owner for Island Records. And I would sing a lot of shows for Chris Blackwell at his hotels just the same way. So I would always hear Talking Heads music. And the fact that it wasn't the typical, it was very different. I'm not the typical reggae guy because I grew up in a tribal village. So as a child, I wasn't a reggae singer, believe it or not. I would sing the traditional Jamaica traditional cultural music, which is called mento. So I would sing more like mento, ska, and calypso. Those were my genre as a tribal kid. And that's the reason why I would stick out and get a lot of these hotel gigs, because I wasn't the typical reggae. And the fact that I was so into different styles of music, once I started hearing Talking Heads music, what drew me the most to them was those lyrics. I want to be able to dissect those lyrics and kind of put myself in that singer's shoe. Where were you in your life or in your own little world when you wrote these lyrics? And then we start getting into that drum and bass section, which those are the folks that I met at Campus Point. You know, Chris and Tina, actually, until today, they still own a condominium in the same building that I used to stay. They still owns it.
And Chris and Tina are Chris France and Tina Weymouth, who are founding members of Talking Heads and also part of the Tom Tom Club, which you, Mystic, have also played with.
Yes, I sang with the Tom Tom Club for over 20 years. So I was living with them and I watched all the offers came in, you know, why don't you just do a Talking Heads tour, do a Talking Heads album, whatever. And they want to do it. David is saying no. And Jerry Harrison is saying yes. David Byrne is saying no. You know, and at one point I was on the tour and I just like, man, I want this band to get back together so bad. So, you know, the best thing I think I can do to get the band back together without the band, I'm going to do their music in my genre, my style. So I actually asked every single member of Talking Heads before I actually went out publicly with the idea, what do you think about me redoing the songs in reggae? And everybody, 100% were in support of it. What I was doing. There was one song in it that I needed to have a female singer on it. I need a female voice, and that certain song called Heaven. It's one of my favorite Talking Heads songs, but I know it wasn't one of the bigger, more popular songs. I called Cindy Wilson from B-52s and asked her if she'd sing it with me, and she said yes. So sing the song Heaven with me. And it was just this amazing recording project. One of the engineers that recorded and mixed a lot of the songs on the album, Stephen Stanley, is the engineer that actually recorded Tom Tom Club, all their songs. So it's like bringing to Talking Heads and Tom Tom Club, it's like me went around and brought back all their players, all their friends together. Before we actually did the recording, I went to Seymour Stein's office. Seymour Stein, he passed away. He was the founder for Sawyer Records and the president for Warner Brother. He discovered Talking Heads, Blondie, B-52s, Ramones, and all those guys at CBGB's. And so I went to him and asked him what he thought about the idea. What do you think about the idea of me recording Talking Heads music? And he said, listen, you have my blessing as long as you put one song and as long as I get to choose one song. So I asked what song, and he said, Love Goes to Building on Fire. He said that's the song Talking Heads was playing the night at CBGB's when he heard them and walked inside and signed them. So he said, you have to put that on the album and you have my blessing. So I did. And when the album was recorded, I walked into New York City, back into his office, and handed him a copy of the vinyl record. So I have a copy. I have a picture of Seymour Stein and I standing here, him holding the Talking Dreads vinyl record in his hand with one of the songs that he chose. So man, I've been living the dream. I've been living absolute dream.
And Mystic Bowie, it worked because Talking Heads is talking about they're savoring the moment that they're having with the re-release of the 40th anniversary. Oh my God, I'm an old man. Of Stop Making Sense that happened this past fall. So I think all your hard work, Mystic Bowie, it's good. This band is talking again.
Who is luckier than I am?
Me.
Dan Thomas
I
is
get to
getting
play
with Mystic
in Mystic's
Bowie.
band.
And Jay Metcalf, two Valley musicians, will be playing with Mystic Bowie at Gateway City Arts in Holyoke on Thursday, December 28th, along with Khalees Smith and the Soul Magnets.
Yeah, stop shouting me out.
So now back to you, young lady.
Oh,
Soul Magnet.
you're gonna see us.
Who's
on
interviewing
Thursday.
who?
I know, right? Like we just got everything got turned on its head.
Best party band in the
Here's
Valley.
the thing. I don't really do interviews. I do reasoning. I like to chat. I like to banter. I like to chat and banter. I'm not gonna be the only one answering questions. If you know what I mean.
You gonna ask her a question?
No, I want to know where the name came from. And
Oh,
who
where the
started
name
it.
came from? The guy who mostly does a lot of our organizing, Luke Yeager, came up with it. I can't remember where he got it from. And frankly, we're not the only Soul Magnets, haha. But we are the ones with the domain name, so like, whatever.
I like to call them the Soul Magnates because they're
Possession is 90% of the law.
the
or
big
something.
wigs of soul.
I guess the end of it is that the rest of us are really bad at naming things, and he had the catchiest thing.
I asked out of curiosity because I know that there's multiple Soul Magnets out there. That's why I was curious how you. And now I'm even more curious to hear what your Soul Magnet sounds like.
Like funk and soul, mostly. We got a horn section, it's fun.
Ooh.
It's kind of another Valley supergroup, just made up of
Yeah.
players who are just some of the best players in the Valley, playing
sounds
around with other
powerful.
projects.
We're really, really lucky to have Dave Trenholm in our band, who just like is a insane musician. This is one of those. He's one of those
Awesome.
people who just picks up an instrument and knows how to play it. Learned to play violin for Trans Performance one year, like 3 days before he had to go on and play it with King Radio. Yeah, he's one of those people.
The hardest working man at Trans Performance.
Seriously, and him, JJ, and Ken Mayery.
Right.
I'm looking forward to sharing the stage with you guys.
It's gonna be great. One last question. So you said that your favorite Talking Head song is Heaven, but what is the favorite?
One of my favorites.
What is your favorite one that you've redone that is on this album?
Oh man, it's hard to say. It's really hard to say because that changes based on my mood. So what's my favorite today might not be the favorite tomorrow. So it's kind of difficult to answer that question.
What's your favorite today?
Today I have to go with it's actually not the Talking Head song, but it's on the Talking Dreads album. Today my favorite from the album was Piece of My Heart. Piece of My Heart is a Janis Joplin song that we did on the Talking Dreads album. It's a song that my mom would sing whenever she's upset. So like she'd sing that song. We growing up in Jamaica, we never heard that song. But my mom would sing that song and we know somebody, one of the kids are in trouble. But it just so happened that yesterday one of my mom's friends got ill and we were talking, I called her, she's in Jamaica. We're talking about my mom, and this morning she's like, can you send me that song again, please, that your mom used to sing, that you redid? So I sent Piece of My Heart to her. So today, that's my favorite song.
That's amazing. Mystic Bowie and Mystic Bowie's Talking Dreads are going to be playing at Gateway City Arts in Holyoke in one of the last shows of this incarnation of that wonderful venue in Holyoke. They're going to be playing with Jay Metcalf and Dan Thomas, as well as with Khalees Smith and the Soul Magnets opening up. This has been a great chat, Mystic Bowie. Thank you so much for spending time with us. Can't wait to see the show on the 28th.
Thank you very much for having me. But you know what's pretty cool? I was supposed to be in Jamaica right now. But when Jay mentioned that show, I've decided we're going to stay and we're going to do that show. And I'm actually flying, literally leaving that show straight to the airport to fly to Jamaica the next morning.
We might go with you.
I'd like to. Oh,
Yo, you all should come down. I'm telling you, I have an amazing writer's camp that I have up in the mountains. You guys should just come down. You have a place to crash, man.
all right.
We're coming.
I mean, I don't need more than an invite.
God help us, help us, help us.
And as a quick aside, one of those ska projects one of those side projects from Dan Thomas's band, the Valley Moonstomper Society. They are playing their traditional ska and rocksteady at the Marigold Theater in East Hampton tonight. So if you want to go get your rocksteady on, you absolutely can and should support your local music scene.
Up next, we'll share some of our favorite holiday movies and traditions.
And we'll hear about some of your favorite locations in Western Mass to see the cool Yule lights.
You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on 88.5 NEPM. Welcome back to the Fabulous 413. I'm Monty Belmonte.
And I'm Khalees Smith.
What does that song remind you of?
I mean, now.
Okay.
Like right now.
To me, it's Home Alone.
Well, there's that too.
And it's also used in The Santa Claus, which is the Tim Allen one. They use it a million times in that. So it's prompted me and my friends to just break out into a da-da-da-dum at any random time. We're going to talk about some of our favorite holiday movies, like maybe Home Alone, coming up in just a little bit. We're going to make it weird, as we always do.
We are definitely going to make it weird.
Home Alone is great. We have a Home Alone parallel movie that we will talk about. But we have been asking you, the listener, about where to find the best holiday lights in the Fabulous 413. And many of you have sent in your suggestions and your pictures. So
some of which you can see on the NEPM Instagram and Facebook page. We'll post more as time goes on. So, if you're stuck at home for whatever reason, you can still see the lights.
Yeah, you can play holiday light bingo.
Yeah.
Go print it out from the internet and then try to drive around to these places and see and check it off your list, the lights that we've seen here.
That is the opposite of what I said, but okay.
You want to? Do you want to start with the first one?
Sally Morgan sent us this gorgeous picture of a house that is right across the street from Holyoke High School. And it's beautiful. It's got like lights on 3 floors. It's awesome. And everything's just covered. It's so cool. And there's hearts and there's snowmen and it's beautiful.
Nancy Richards said on Harrison Ave in Greenfield, the owners add more dazzle each year, this time a Ferris wheel. When kids drop a letter to Santa in the mailbox, all letters answered if a return address is included, they get a free jingle bell on a fancy string, each one draped over the antlers of a wooden reindeer. I'm told the man of the house is a kitchen designer, which might explain the perfect placement of objects, color, and light. The train runs through Thursday through Sunday from 5:30 to 7. Then she adds, I'm a fan and regular listener of your wonderful addition to the NEPM lineup. Please don't go away.
Oh, thanks.
Oh, thanks, Nancy. And she sent a movie, too, but I couldn't get it to open.
Anyway. Dennis Brommery sent us 4 pictures driving past 9 Harkness Road in Pelham. It was early in the day, but the lights were still on. A lot of inflatables, several Santas, couple of candles, trees covered in lights. This was all ginormous and well done.
What's your take on inflatables?
I'm okay with them for the most part.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not as compelling as like the old school, like weird molded light things, but I think they're in general a lot safer and a lot easier to keep and way easier on your back.
I saw somebody post on social media like an inflatable Yoda with a Santa hat on with a lightsaber, and all the other inflatables were like lying deflated on the ground. That I liked.
That's pretty great.
Listener Ben Benson says, I hear that Deerfield's Upper Road is on your list, but a shout out to the big guy, and sent a picture of what looks like, is that Santa? I can't tell. It's got to be Santa because he said the big guy, right?
I mean,
you're not going to make Jesus in lights in the front of your house, probably.
No, probably not.
It looks like a house that has lights on it that may be trying to make it look like the face of Santa. But you can go there, Upper Road in Deerfield, and see for yourself. And if you get stranded on Lower Road, good Ben Clark, fruit farmer from Clarkdale Fruit Farm, might come rescue you because he is the Franklin County Citizen of the Year.
I mean, and he did actually do that
he did
for
actually
someone
do that.
earlier
If you missed
in
that
the year.
Earlier in the show with Congressman McGovern.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Andrea Cohen sent us a picture of this house done up on Maple Street in Greenfield, where they've done in lights joy over their shed or garage, which I happily approve of.
Yeah.
But there's, again, more inflatables, lights on the tree going to the house. All of the windows are done up in lights, and there's a whole scene with snowmen and sleighs in the front yard, including candy canes. I like when candy canes are in yards.
Yeah, lights all over the fence. They made a heart and a peace symbol in lights there. So this is like as close to the National Lampoon's house as any of the suggestions we've gotten so far, I think.
And then we got, like, you had mentioned this particular light setup before we even got this picture.
Yeah, this is kind of the impetus for the idea of the whole thing, asking where the best
Right.
lights are.
And then we got an email from the people who helped make it. So Mike Fleck and this listener helped their friend Jerry on this particular tree, which has more than 20,000 light bulbs that aren't LED on it. And it looks like the Dr. Seuss tree. It is just beautiful.
It's completely candy cane striped in red and white. And then there are these giant dangling ornaments that are gorgeous, that are all covered in lights that are either exactly the same kind of candy cane color stripes or very similar matchy-matchy.
Yes.
You drive by, and it's the only lights on this one street, so it is totally, it draws you in like a moth to the flame. I've been by it several times.
It is
already
super,
this
super
year.
cool.
Rita, who says she's a fan of the Fabulous 413. Thank you, Rita. I'm forwarding you a video taken at a house near where my daughter lives in Arlington, Virginia. What? Formerly from the Fabulous 413, born here and raised in Shelburne Falls, she now lives in Arlington with her family, and they walk over to this house every holiday season to check it out. That's me, the Grammy, along with them. But check out the lights. Now you have something for comparison to what the Fabulous 413 has to offer.
I did not get to watch that video.
I couldn't make that video open either.
So-
But we appreciate the effort, Granny.
We sure do. But we are unfortunately going to have to ask for WeTransfers instead of Google Files in the
I know,
future.
it's tricky.
Technology is strange. And then lastly, our boss, Matt Abramovitz, said he heard a tip about the Hanush family compound in West Springfield having absolutely dynamite lights. Apparently the whole family lives on one road and really does it up. And I've seen that one. Yeah, it's a thing. You could probably see that from the space station.
I wonder if you can see it from the highway, because sometimes when we
Yes.
leave here and I'm going south, I look over to the right, somewhere that looks like it's probably West Springfield, and I can see a glow off the highway there. But I'm trying to pay attention to not crash, so I haven't investigated it.
Yes.
Thank you to everyone who submitted your suggestions for best holiday lights. We can probably post most of these addresses, but again, go on our social media, check out the lights, and let us know if you find any cooler ones.
Yes. And next, we'll talk about some of our favorite holiday movies, because 'tis the season. You're listening to the Fabulous 413 on NEPM.
We celebrate
Ah.
the day of peace.
What is this beautiful holiday song?
I don't know if beautiful should be used for this song.
Listen to how the melody plays.
Yeah, no.
Turn it up a little, Phil.
No,
Yeah.
nope.
It sounds familiar. The voice sounds familiar. I can't think of who this could be. Let's listen just for a second more.
No, let's
A
not.
day that takes us
Wait a minute. That sounds like Star Wars.
that leads us into
Welcome back to the Fabulous 413. That is Princess Leia, Carrie Fisher, singing the Life Day song from one of my favorite holiday specials, the Star Wars Holiday Special. Why is it one of my favorite, you ask? Because A, it only aired once ever, and B, George Lucas then proceeded to try to destroy it. However, as a young child who loved Star Wars, I knew that this holiday special existed, and I wanted to see it my whole life. And with the advent of the internet, it is now available in its entirety on YouTube. It is unbelievable. It stars all of the principles of Star Wars. Let's hear a clip of Han Solo and Chewbacca in the Millennium Falcon from the holiday special.
I know your family's waiting. I know it's an important day. I'll get you back there in time, pal. Trust me. I'm going to Lightspeed. That's the spirit. You'll be celebrating Life Day before you know it.
Life Day is the holiday that they celebrate in this special. Like I said, it stars all the principles of Star Wars, but also guest stars B. Arthur, Art Carney, Diana Carroll, Harvey Korman, and Jefferson Starship.
This was on TV, y'all.
Once,
The
but
80s
now it's on
were
the...
a wild, wild west.
Tony
of
Dunn,
things.
our director, you're a big Star Wars fan. Have you ever watched the entire holiday special?
I have not, because much like Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park, it's an abomination that should
like Kiss Meets the
never,
Phantom of the Park.
never be screened. Or it should be reviled, justifiably so, and put away in a vault somewhere for all of eternity.
One thing that people oft forget is that it is the Star Wars Holiday Special that introduced us to this character.
You are alone?
I have 2 droids. We've come in search of a ship that crashed near here.
Maybe I can help you. I am Boba Fett. The ship you seek is nearby.
Are the Imperial troops near this planet?
They are here, friend.
Oh, but is he a friend for long? That's where we meet Boba Fett, the Star Wars Holiday Special.
As
We've
a cartoon,
talked about this for too long.
Yeah, okay. Let's talk about this amazing holiday special. I didn't even pick any movies. We were having an argument, and Tony Dunn, our director, again, you are on the opposite end of this from Khalees and I. You do not believe that Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
No, as much as I care deeply for the both of you, you are wrong, as is anybody else who believes that. It is a movie set with during Christmas time is a backdrop. There is no moral tale involved. There is no lesson learned, other than maybe not to play with guns. Yeah, no, it's not a Christmas movie.
And you are going to dislike my one movie pick out of the ones that I have here.
Well, we shall see.
It is a Christmas movie. Okay, but this is definitely a Christmas special. It is the Pee-wee's Playhouse Christmas special. Pee-wee Herman passed away this past year. I can't wait to watch this with my family. It is star-studded. Annette Funicello, the Del Rubios, Charo, Cher, Oprah, so many people. Here's a clip.
You're not the president. You're Pee-wee Herman.
Duh!
This package was supposed to go to the White House, not the Playhouse.
Sorry, Grace. Back in the box.
Since I'm already here, would you mind if I sang a song?
Oh, go right ahead. What are you waiting for, Christmas?
Grace Jones! Come on, what need I say more? It is the most amazingly queer holiday special there is, and I love it. Khalees, your pick.
Pee-wee's Playhouse Christmas special is pretty awesome. So I think I am the only, there's one movie coming up that we're both going to talk about because it's kind of both of our favorites for weird reasons, but this is one of my dad's favorite movies and then became one of my favorite movies, and it's set at Christmas. It is not a Christmas movie under Tony Dunn conditions, but it's Long Kiss Goodnight with Gina Davis and Samuel L. Jackson. He's already shaking his head.
No, it's a great movie. It's a great movie.
It is a Christmas movie.
If it's set at Christmas, it's a Christmas movie as far as I'm concerned.
It's a Christmas movie.
Well, according to your rules, then if it's set at Christmas and it's a Christmas movie, then it's a Christmas movie.
And this is one of my favorite moments in it.
See it tonight. I'm not talking about the millennium, and I don't want to change your life. What?
The song's not about linen. It's not linen.
Yeah, whatever. So you cold?
Yeah, freezing.
Turn on the heat. Doesn't work, but it makes a very annoying noise. Distracts from the cold.
I'll pass.
I had a car like that, and I did used to sing the lyrics like that, so there's a little special place in my heart. But the other Christmas thing I want to mention, which is a favorite of mine and several other folks, is Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. It is loosely based on the O. Henry story, Gift of the Magi. It is an utter delight of Henson artistry, and here is one of the songs from it that I absolutely adore. Go for it.
When you meet somebody that don't like soul food, they still got a soul. And it don't mean that you got no rhythm if you don't like rock and roll. But if you taste like mine, you like cider, not wine, and your very favorite thing to do
Let's get a pretty girl dancing to jug band music.
and to miss them always barbecue.
And like I said, I am not the only person who loves this special. We got an email shortly into the show from Jennifer Fosel. Hands down, Emmett Otter's Jug Band Christmas. In case you don't know it, it's a Muppet thing originally from the 1970s. When I was a kid in the early 80s, it only aired on HBO. It's loosely based on O. Henry's The Gift of the Magi. To this day, it is my fave. You are not the only one.
Remember when Kermit was in it, but then Kermit was bought, the Muppets were bought by Disney, so they edited Kermit out of the incarnations of Emmett Otter's that you watch now. It's sad.
Yeah, that's sad.
Do you want to do your one more, and then we will save our one, our mutual most amazing one for the beginning of tomorrow's show?
No, because it's another weird one, and I haven't watched it in ages, because it's just hard to come by. But my family's favorite TV Christmas special used to be the Claymation Christmas Celebration. Yeah, it's
Too long a clip.
Yeah, it's bizarre. But it involves the California raisins, and that's all you really need to know. And some misinterpretations of the Wassail song.
I can't believe that I don't remember this one. I have to go back and check it out because I was so
There's
into
a
the
T-Rex
California
in it.
raisins that there's no way I didn't watch this one.
Yeah,
All right, well, we'll give you our multiple amazing mutual pick tomorrow at the beginning of the show, and we want to know about what your favorite holiday movies and specials are, especially if they're weird. Don't give us Love Actually and Elf. We know all those are great. It's a Wonderful Life, blah, blah, blah. We want the weirdo stuff.
Tony, what's yours in our last seconds here we have on the show?
What's my favorite?
Yeah.
Oh, It's a Wonderful Life, Mr. Belmonte.
It's fine that's your favorite. We just don't need to talk
on
about
so
that
many
anymore.
different levels.
Everybody's talked about that one a million different times.
It's totally fine.
Friday on the Fabulous 413, we are celebrating First Night, which is actually the last night of the year.
We'll ask why they call it First Night when we speak with First Night Northampton event producer Steve Sanderson.
And we'll hear live music from First Night festivities with Father Hotep and Love Crumbs.
Plus a sparkly wine Thunderdome at Dare Bottle Shop in Lenox, a pair of bubbly bottles, and a sparkly pair of sisters to taste them with.
I'm Monty Belmonte.
And I'm Cleve Smith, and we'll see you tomorrow on the Fabulous 413, where we will explain this music playing right here.
Here comes the dawn.